Welcome back, Onefootballers, to another Q&A session where you guys ask the question and hopefully me and Statman Dave, who is with me today, can come up with the answers. For our first question, Mamadou Hassan said, why don't United just sack Mourinho? That is a completely apt place to start today, as your question has been answered by not me or Dave, but by the club, as he has gone. It was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it felt really weird in a way, where it felt a bit like Christmas had come early, where it was quite excited to think about the future of Manchester United. But then the Boxing Day feeling came in, where you're thinking, what's actually next? Who comes in? How do United progress as a football club? So, again, a good move from Manchester United. I think the football had gone dry. I think there was things that Mourinho was saying that may have been a bit wrong. But at the moment, I feel a bit lost.
Right, so in terms of that lost feeling, because what's going to happen after Solskjaer? I think it's obvious that he's come in, from my perspective at least, just to kind of lift the mood and reunite everybody, much like a Southgate at England job.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what he's been brought in to do. I think bringing Mike Phelan and maybe Rennie Mullenstein back to the club, smart move to Manchester United. Guys that know the club, know the standards of Manchester United. You think obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer won the treble in '99, was at the club for years and years and years. And I think that's the kind of thing that feel-good factor to come back to the club that's been really lacking over the last few months. And again, what Manchester United is, Patrice Evra talking about, it's about United and improving United and getting them back to the level that they should be. And I feel that's a good appointment, bringing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the short term. It's almost like a managerial loan in a way, where Molde have come out today saying they're going to give Solskjaer a contract. They're ready to give him one after the end of the season if he comes back. They're ready to hand him that. So it's quite an interesting one, a managerial loan by Manchester United to uplift the mood.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I can't see them dropping too far off the European places, but I think with anyone to get them back into the Champions League now is going to be a big ask. But from the summer onwards, Gene Coopy has said, would Zinedine Zidane be a good idea?
I think Zinedine Zidane is definitely one option. I think what Zinedine Zidane did at Real Madrid was absolutely incredible. The first manager to retain the Champions League, then the first manager to win it 3 times in a row. A feat that we might not see broken in the next 20 years. His sides were combative, they were flexible, they could counter, they could do everything, they could hold possession. And obviously they had Ronaldo, the star in that sort of team. And I think that's one question mark that I'd say. You had Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, Casemiro, Ronaldo, Benzema, Gareth Bale, Marcelo, Ramos, Varane. You basically had all the best players in their position in the world. So can he replicate that at Manchester United?
It seems like without a transfer window, and this is something I want to talk a little bit later, I kind of feel like they're going to have to hold back, because you can't throw however many 100 million on top of Gunnar Solskjaer's head and say, hey, you go out and sign who you want. Surely they're going to hold back in January and give the big budget to the new manager next summer.
I think it's all about youth development. As you mentioned, Man United pretty much are statistically out the race for the top 4. Arsenal are the only team to have come back from a 5-point gap from the top 4. United currently are 11 points away from the top 4.
Wow.
So it's pretty much impossible. Let's say United are only going to get back into the Champions League if they win the competition. So either you go big in January, you sign loads of players, you look to win it, or what I think United will do is you develop players, you develop the youth players. The likes of Tahith Chong, the likes of Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, who scored a hat-trick against Chelsea's under-18s in the FA Youth Cup, a wonderful talent. That's what I think Solskjaer's been brought in to do. Feel-good factor, use the squad that he's got right now, but also integrate a lot of youth, which is classic Manchester United.
So you've mentioned Zinedine Zidane then, and of course Gunnar Solskjaer bringing through the youth prospects. That's something I can see Pochettino doing. He's obviously been linked with the job massively, although he hasn't categorically denied it, but he's distancing himself from the rumours. But Tanzin Jomar has got in touch in the Q&A as well and said, what about Diego Simeone? He's actually, I think, quite underrated, and I'm surprised his name isn't bounded around more, to be honest.
I think the big thing with Simeone is it's like classic Sir Alex Ferguson, 4-4-2, 2 strikers, aggressive play. A lot of the key elements that made Man United great. Players that would work hard and work for the club, and Simeone gets his teams to do that. The only thing that I'd say there is that obviously a lot of United fans have not been happy with Mourinho's defensive football. Simeone is the master of winning 1-0. Like he can see a result out. The clean sheet numbers that he's got since moving to Atletico Madrid are absolutely phenomenal. It's about 1 every 2 games. So I think the thing that you've got to look out there is that it's not going to be that classic gung-ho Man United attacking with wingers. It's going to be a brilliant style, a tactically very interesting style, but maybe not suiting with the traditions of the club of having wingers and looking to break teams down more, sitting back on a lead, being defensively solid and pressing through the middle. So again, I would love Simeone, but I don't think it fits the fan base right now.
So who would your number one target be? Let's kind of draw a line under the managers and say, you're in charge, you're bringing in one guy.
I think it's got to be Pochettino. I think the big thing with Manchester United is it's about coaching. I think Pochettino is a fantastic coach, and I think that's something United need. It's that style on the ball that they've lacked, that idea of what they're going to do when they've got it, where they're playing their passes to, how narrow they are in the final third, the fullbacks pushing on. Pochettino's style at Tottenham is absolutely brilliant, whether it's playing a back three or a back four with a, whatever system. It's always we're going to press, we're going to win the ball back. Something that United fans have been crying out for. We're seeing our rivals, Liverpool and Manchester City, both pressing styles. We're sort of a bit jealous in a way, and Pochettino would bring that to United, combining with the development of youth. He's kind of the perfect guy for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a Spurs fan's point of view, it's pretty devastating if he does go. But I can see why so many guys, so many teams around the world would want him in the hot seat. But I mean, moving on from the managerial perspective to the guys on the pitch. And our first question from The Marvellous said, should United sell Lukaku and bring in a more consistent striker? Now, I'm going to say, because I know it seems to be the thing with many Manchester United players, I feel like a Mourinho era and post-Mourinho era Lukaku are going to be two different players.
Completely. You don't go and score as many goals as Lukaku scored at his age without being a good striker. He scored more Premier League goals than Didier Drogba. We can't forget that. Yes, maybe, there's stuff that he can work on his game, but that's why I'm saying a coach is needed. Someone to coach Lukaku. Lukaku is a wonderful finisher. He's powerful, he's strong. He has it all to be a brilliant striker. You take before Pochettino had Harry Kane and turned him into a superstar, Lukaku's numbers were better. So Lukaku, when he left Everton, had I think he'd been directly involved in more goals than Harry Kane in the Premier League, and he created more chances. So those two aspects, you're thinking he's a more all-rounded player, but the development of Kane has been incredible. But with Pochettino, you could see a similar thing. Raw materials, what Harry Kane had, big sort of lumbering striker that's now a technically brilliant striker. Similar thing with Lukaku. You're thinking, look, this works well. The other things there as well, Pochettino, as you know as a Spurs fan, gets players around Harry Kane, either in a 4-2-3-1 or either a 3-4-2-1, either it's two attacking midfielders or three, very, very close. Lukaku's a player that needs players around him to play off. So for me, you stick with Lukaku. Absolutely. He's a talent.
The way I kind of see it with United is that in the attacking sense, they've definitely got the firepower there. They've got the players there that need someone to come in and coach. Defensively, I think they just need new players. I mean, Joshua Wilson's got in touch and asked Harry Maguire and Kalidou Koulibaly, should Manchester United sign both these guys in January? Because to me, it looks like they need to focus on that rather than focus on bringing in someone up front. I mean, they've signed Martial to a new contract. That's a move in the right direction.
Well, if you look at going back to Pochettino, what Pochettino's done with centre-backs is pretty incredible. And I think with the base of Victor Lindelof, yes, there's parts of his game he needs to improve. But this season he's been brilliant. Probably been United's best defender. Thinking Eric Bailly as well. Then you're looking at the likes of Tuanzebe. United's an interesting one where you're looking at someone like a Koulibaly that would come in and have an impact of Virgil van Dijk. That's the level of a defender that you got there. Probably, one of the top 5 centre-backs in world football. Strong, physical, really good on the ball. And would massively improve United, dependent on whoever comes in, instantly upgrade. But it's kind of that thing that, are you looking to an instant solution in Koulibaly, or are you looking to the future and signing someone like Matthias de Ligt? I'd argue, going down the future way, because United have a young squad, could be the better way to go. But there's a lot of potential with United centre-half, and that's kind of the interesting side here. Now Mourinho's gone, can a new coach come in and improve these players more than Mourinho's done at centre-back? That's kind of the question I've got as a United fan for the board.
I guess it's kind of you're split into, as you say, buying a ready-made replacement or bringing in a coach who can bring the best out of players. However, I think in the case of Koulibaly, I can't think of a manager who would come in and be like, I didn't want to sign Koulibaly. He's not my kind of player. I can't imagine whether it's Solskjaer now or Zidane or Pochettino, whoever in the summer, disagreeing with the fact that United signed Koulibaly before or after they came. Surely he's just that good.
No, I completely agree with that. That's the level of him, and that's the you watched him play against PSG, and he had a great little duel with Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe is the best attacker in world football right now. They had a great duel. Mbappe beat him a few times, and Koulibaly destroyed him a few times with his pace, with his strength. And that is the level that he is playing at the top of the game right now. And he's giving someone like Kylian Mbappe a very, very hard game. So as you mentioned, whoever comes in, they see Koulibaly at centre-half. They're like, sweet, we've got a defence to build on here.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to complain and say, you know what, he's not my signing. I don't want him in the team. But I mean, so we've talked about the defence and the attack then. So quickly into the midfield, where Chrissy Angelique has said, and it's actually a really interesting question, I thought, why did Jose sign Fred if he needed a centre-back in the summer? Because I'm starting to think that Fred was not his signing, judging by the amount of game time he's been given.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Fred. Big fan of Diogo Dalot. Both wonderful signings for United. They were positive signings. You think a central midfielder that can control the tempo from the base in Fred, that needs maybe an enforcer next to him, but can be, fantastic in terms of riding pressure and, a perfect ball player. A guy that you think in 50 million, bargain. Really good signing, but the lack of integration. You see him playing against Valencia, you're thinking, who is this fella? Watching him playing for Shakhtar every single week, and then going to watch him for Man United in the Champions League, there's a consistency that's now gone because he's not playing week in, week out. Like, he is a wonderful player. Fred is a brilliant footballer. It's something that whichever manager comes in, his midfield, again, Pogba's got to be in there, but Fred has got to be the first guy in there, I think, for me. Fred has got to be the guy that's in there.
If Mourinho's such a big fan and, went out and said, you have to bring him in for 52 million, why would he then not play him? It seems to me that he was bought in, not over Mourinho's head, but he had other targets in mind.
It's another confusing thing where, you looked at a player with great potential and you're seeing what he can do on the ball and how he can progress a team in the final third or getting into the final third. Then you're seeing how sideways Matic passes or Fellaini in defensive midfield, and you're thinking, you've got a guy on the bench here, or you've got two guys, Andres Pereira as well, that can find this pass. The crazy thing is, one of United's best performances this season on the ball was against Leicester City. Midfield three, Andres Pereira at defensive midfield, Fred and Paul Pogba. What happened?
Wow, yeah, I guess it does make a good point, and I guess we're kind of leaning back towards the coach now, where he's got to bring the best out of them. So you've mentioned the coach bringing in a better player and getting the midfielders to play in a better style, but I do want to know from a fan's perspective, because Maddie Jaffa has written in and said, who is the most overrated and underrated player? Manchester United, of course, being the theme of this Q&A, because as an outsider, I've got so many different views, but what do you think?
You see, I think there's one player that could fit in both of those categories.
Doesn't even make sense, does it?
Or you could say Paul Pogba, that sometimes he puts in some unbelievable displays.
Yeah.
Sometimes the game passes him by, and I think whoever comes in next as a manager, even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, needs to find the best way, the best position for Paul Pogba. That's one of United's biggest problems at the moment is, where does Pogba play? Is he a defensive midfielder, central midfielder, attacking midfielder, left winger, right winger, striker? What is he, a centre-back? And the consistency of him is going to be big. Of course, we saw that stuff going around social media, whether it was his team or not, should never have gone out. Yeah. And I think now Paul Pogba, this season, the rest of this season, has to be United's best player. He has to put in the performances week in, week out. And that's why he fits in both of the categories right now, because, some people think, he's a world-class talent, which he is. But then there's games like the Southampton game this season, you could say, West Ham, that he just didn't show up. And that's the big thing for Paul Pogba. He needs to get out of this zone of being overrated, underrated. He needs to be rated. He needs that consistency. And that's the only time that you'll think, okay, now he's at that same bracket as a Toni Kroos or Luka Modric.
Yeah. It's unbelievable to think that someone could go from winning the World Cup to sitting on the bench and still be in the middle of an underrated, overrated argument.
But again, that's kind of thing. His performances in recent weeks, like the last few weeks of Mourinho's tenure, have been awful. Whether he was doing that for a reason, I don't know. But at the same time, that performance levels needs to go now, and they need to be high. They need to be 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 every single week. Or United have a decision in the summer to make. Do we keep him or do we let him go?
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, look, I think when a guy gets sacked, it can look like it's all going to pot. However, you seem a little bit hopeful for the future. I guess it's exciting times as well for a United fan.
Yeah, I'd say so. We're in this weird situation again, post Moyes, where you're like, oh, Louis van Gaal, that's a new style of football. Yeah. And you realise it's dead boring. Then you get Mourinho, we're going to win all the trophies and we're doing the first year. And then the football goes turgid. So I just want some good football. That's all I care about. I think the interesting side of Jurgen Klopp's appointment at Liverpool, he's not won any trophies, but he's built a team that Liverpool fans, enjoy. And I think that's the biggest thing for Manchester United, the next boss. They've got to enjoy the football again, and it's got to be a good style. Yeah, well, you've got plenty of chance to enjoy your football with all the football over the Christmas break. But thank you so much for joining me, Dave. It's always good to hear your thoughts on Manchester United. I'm sure we could go on forever. But I think we'll do this again,
in a month or two, just to see how Solskjaer started. And you might be
Beautiful.
like, you know what, screw the football. I just want the results again.
Completely switch. Back to that defensive football.
We'll have to wait and see. But thanks anyway, mate. It's always great speaking to you. And thanks for your guys as well for all your questions in the Q&A. Fuck's sake, my thing fell out. Right, one more time. My fucking earphone.
We've heard that one before.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. So thanks very much for joining me for everything, Statman Dave. It's been brilliant speaking to you and to you guys as well for sending all your questions in on the Q&A. Of course, let us know everything you think in the comments section down below. What do you think about Dave saying Pogba is under and overrated? You can hit the like button whilst you're there as well and click here to check all of the other videos on Onefootball. But until next time from us two, we'll see you guys later. Actual facts that are practical. I'm about to tear you up. Why? I'm an